Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast. And today I have with me Paul Brodie. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Kimberly, how are you?
I am great. So excited to have you on today. And just so people know you, I'm going to go ahead and just read your short bio. So, Paul Brodie is a 21-time best-selling author and CEO of Brodie Consulting Group. He helps people share their story and positions them as an expert in their field. His company, Brodie Consulting, accomplishes this by helping their clients create, publish, and launch their books to a guaranteed bestseller with over 170 consecutive best-selling launches in all genres and 42 best-selling launches in 2024. Paul is a lifelong learner and earned an MA in teaching from Louisiana College and a BBA in management from University of Texas, Arlington. He is a Rotarian and he's won many awards, and I'll let you read that in his bio in our show notes. But just so we can hear about you, Paul, tell us about you. Tell us your story.
Hey, Kimberly. So basically, my story starts back in my early 20s, right? I'm in college. The slogan was, Yes, you can, 10-year plan. I was a part-time student, worked full-time, and was able to pay off my degree completely before I graduated. I graduated when I was 29 years old, roughly 20 years ago. And what happened was right after that, I bought my house and recently just celebrated the 20-year anniversary of living here. And it's kind of rare that you go from being a 10-year student to buying your dream home to then be able to have the career that's really ideal. But it didn't start as ideal because what happened was I worked for a market research firm since I was 17 years old. Literally a few months after I bought my house, the company got bought out and I no longer had a job. So what happened was they gave me a nice buyout because the business was bought. And then to figure things out, I'm going, okay, I've just graduated this degree that I spent 10 years getting. What's next? And what happened was I really just chose to embrace the grind. And I literally went into a job that's pretty much referred to as the meat grinder. And that was working for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, going straight out of college, basically, and where basically I had to start at ground zero. But what happened was I learned so many great lessons in sales and service there. And back in those days, you were wearing a suit every day, even in the summers, hot summers in Texas, 100+ degrees, and you're out there cleaning cars. But it taught you work ethic, taught you sales, service. I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity. And I was a top seller every month, made what they called as elite level, 12 consecutive months, became a top performer, corporate employee of the month several times, and then became an assistant manager and was basically running an Air Force base and 2 other branches. And then what happened was I got recruited by a nurse and recruiting company. Now, I did love Enterprise because I got to mentor people. I had a ton of people I was mentoring. My staff was great. And ironically enough, when I left to go into nurse recruiting, within a month, the entire staff left because that's how good we had the relationship there. But what happened was in nurse recruiting, I loved, I like the hunt. I always like closing the sale. That's the fun part. But I felt like a mercenary. I didn't feel like I was giving back. So I did that from end of January until October. And I just had this epiphany. October 2007, I quit my job. I felt that I had enough money to live on. I could make this work. But I literally took this, I call it my first leap of faith, where I left my job and just focused on thinking, what do I want to do next? And everything went into teaching. So for the next 6 months after that, I was a substitute teacher, taught at every grade level you can imagine. And I really love teaching English as a second language. And what happened was I went in, got my certification, went the alternative certification route, and became an ESL teacher. Got a job immediately. And I did that for my first 3 years, was a teacher of the year finalist, ended up getting my master's degree during that time because it was a great opportunity to get my master's in education. And then what happened? My program got shut down. So then I ended up running an after school program for at-risk kids for 3 years. And then the grant ended with that. And then after that, I ended up teaching special needs. So it's gone quite through the path. And the reason I share this is you never know where life's going to take you, but always lean in and listen to those opportunities. And what happened was at that point, that is when I actually wrote my first book, which was Eat Less and Move More, which was based on a health crisis I had back in 2011, where I was near 340 pounds, borderline type 2 diabetic, high blood pressure. Long story short, I was told if I didn't get my act together, I'd be dead in 5 years. So what happened was I got my act together. and I lost 60 pounds. I've now at this point lost almost 90. And the reason I share this is I want to write a book about it. But of course, I had the imposter syndrome, didn't feel I was good enough. Who am I, this former, rather big boy? Who am I to be an expert in this, right? But the root word of authority is author. And what happened was I got that first book out there, became a bestseller. Then I created two other books that were based on motivational seminars that I did. They became bestsellers. And then people started reaching out and asking if I could help them in their journey. So it started with a coaching model. I would teach my kids during the day. I would coach my clients at night. Did that for about 2 years. And finally, in June of 2017, I left my teaching career, did 9 years. It was great, but it was time, and moved on to this next adventure. And then the funny thing was with my business, we almost went bankrupt because it was a coaching model. I basically liquidated my entire teaching savings, took a heck of a risk, and realized that the business model wasn't working because it was a coaching program. What I found out was business owners did not want to learn how to do this. They wanted to pay me a premium and teach them how to, and basically do it for them. And so what happened, ironically enough, in Vegas, go figure, good decisions in Vegas, but I'm in Las Vegas at my corner suite at Badara, and I decided in fall of 2018 that we're going to lean into this. We're going to completely eliminate the coaching program. We're going to focus on two services: a done for you publishing service and a done for you book launch marketing service. We went all in with that, did 30 grand in our first month. And then in 2019, did our first six-figure year. Then in 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. And that decision alone has literally made me millions of dollars, just leaning in and listening to what people have to say. And I think that's something that's the most critical thing in life is if you really want to find your calling, listen to what other people have to tell you. Because if you do that and you really lean into that, and if you keep getting the same message over and over, there's a reason for that. So lean into that and you'd be amazed the opportunities that come up with it.
That's beautiful. And wow, you had quite a journey and many pivots and many changes and we talk about this on here, don't be afraid to make the change because if you sit in a place where you're dissatisfied, it's just so uncomfortable and so unhappy. So why do it? So sounds like you know, things changed and you moved on, and things changed and you moved on. And sometimes you chose, and sometimes it was chosen by someone else, but you were able to keep pivoting. So that's really, really amazing.
Well, and the big thing with that too is, it's tough. It's tough when these things happen in life. But if you lean into that, the last question that you ever want to answer at the end of your life when you're about to go to the pearly gates is you never want to have to answer the question of what if. And I didn't want to do that. So making these moves in my late 20s, 30s, and 40s, it was all the right direction because you never want to live a life with regrets. And I was very proud to realize that no matter what happened, and when I turned in my retirement papers and when I was teaching Fort Worth that final year, I was scared. But when I went into HR office, submitted my paperwork, I felt like the weight of the world was taken off of me. And I knew this was going to work. I knew there'd be struggles, knew there'd be challenges, but I knew in my heart this was the right direction. And even when we had those struggles that first year, when we almost went under, we didn't because we listened to what our people wanted. And what they wanted was done for you services. They did not want a coaching model. So we made that adjustment. And just that one little thing completely took us to the next level where we've got now 174 consecutive bestsellers. We had 42 launches last year. We're going to most likely do at least 50 this year. And the reason I share that is this doesn't happen overnight. The biggest tool for success in life is consistency. It is being there every day. It is showing up. It is doing the work and always having a continuous marketing model. Like with me, I do 4 summits a year. I do our Get Published Summit. I do an AI version of that as well in the summer. And then we have a list building summit, and we also have a book marketing academy summit. And the reason I share that is we have continuous things going on throughout the year, and we couldn't do that unless we were consistent. Going in there, doing the work, having people on, interviewing our experts, having them promoting the events, and just really bringing people together, but most importantly, giving value. And it's just like when you have an email list, when you're doing emails once or twice a year, you always want to be given value, and that all connects to being consistent because there is no secret sauce, there is no hack, there is no tool. The biggest secret in life is just being consistent.
I have to totally agree. You- Consistent practice, you get there.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to talk about service. Now, I know you're part of your Rotary Club and you've have some leadership positions. You've had some awards in those areas. So talk about service and why it's important.
Yeah, so the awards, all they were a side effect. Never for that intention. It's basically like my philosophy. We always want to give value. We always want to be a service. And what we have found is that is your number one tool for success outside of consistency is just being having that servant heart and be able to give back. And what happened was in 2018, I had to decide what I wanted to get more involved in the community because I didn't want to just have this business where we're just making money. I went through that path when I was doing nurse recruiting and I did not want to go through that. I wanted to be able to give back. I wanted to support the community. So what happened was I joined our local chamber of commerce. And then what I refer to this as like the Marvel expanded universe, because everyone knows with Marvel, started with Iron Man, then it built to Captain America, Thor, and all the way down the line to Black Panther and Spider-Man and all that. The reason I share that analogy is because it started with the chamber, then it expanded into joining Rotary through networks in the chamber. Then it gave me the opportunity to serve on the board for the River Legacy Foundation, which I've now done for 5 years. And then with Rotary, I actually transferred clubs to a club that was struggling and really needed some more support. And we basically took that club and rebuilt it and built it into a great club that was very unique, had a lot of different ages, nationalities. It really reflected our true population because there is that perception out there that Rotary is typically just a bunch of old white guys. It's a terrible thing to say, but that is the perception with Rotary, and it's not the case. And especially with our club, where you've got a vast experience. You have people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even people in their 80s. But it's a great mix of people, all different backgrounds, but it's all about giving back to the community. And we do that. I had the privilege to be president of the club. As you mentioned, there's been some awards, being a Rotarian of the Year of my club, which is the highest honor you can get. Very humbled by that. It was never for that intention. It was just to be able to give back. But also with our business, we give back a lot too. In January, I was featured in the Arlington Today magazine, and the entire cover feature they did on me was all about giving back to Arlington, giving back to our community, where I talked about how we support different initiatives, like with our Rotary Club, with Mission Arlington, with a lot of different causes and a lot of what I call micro causes. So, as an ironic example, was I had a friend of mine from high school. Her daughter has a cocoa stand every year that she opens for a few days in December. And this cocoa stand has never really done more than $500 in revenue, but it's all donated to Arlington Life Shelter. So I stopped by one evening and I mentioned to April, as her mom, and I said, "Hey, what do you think if I do a $250 match? Do you think that would help support this?" And they go, "We think it's brilliant." Long story short, did some social media posts about it. And at the end of everything, we got a few more friends involved. And that little cocoa stand, which I think was open for 4 nights, did over $1,000. They crushed their record. And all we did was just put a little get out there like, "Hey, this is an initiative. This is what we'd like to do, support it." And it went viral. And they had their biggest year yet. And we're going to do it next year and the year after. It's just supporting different initiatives. There was an after school program that we were supporting. We found out two of the kids didn't have, they didn't have, weren't gonna have Christmas. And I said, "Okay, tell me the situation, the kids, the family." I made sure the kids had Christmas gifts and the mom and dad had Christmas gifts for each other. And it wasn't for anything. The fact is we just wanted that opportunity to give back. We found out there was a need and we wanted to be supportive of that because this is our community and we want to be as supportive as we can to help. And little things like that. And again, we don't do social media posts about this or anything. I'm only bringing this up in conversation because we really do care about giving back to our community. And I feel that all businesses should focus on that. And I know some businesses talk about corporate responsibility, and it's not real. It's not sincere. And I feel as a small business, we have to have that sincerity where we want to give back because life's been good to us. Let's put that good back in the world. And then let's see the domino effect and see how that turns in to other people supporting these initiatives.
Beautiful. Yeah. So important. So, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing as far as helping people with your business. What are, some of the services you have and how does it actually work?
Yeah, so basically we have two main services. We have a done for you, excuse me, book publishing service. where when our clients are getting done with their books, then they give it to us, and then we get the book edited for them. We did the formatting, interior formatting for paperback, for Kindle. We also do the covers, do the upload, ISBN number, everything that you need done. And then in addition, if we have clients that are struggling to get their book finished, we also have a 10-week program that helps them go from start to finish with their book. And it has a 100% success rate. Typically, it's a 10-week program. Most of our clients will get done with it within 5 to 6 weeks because, again, it's just consistency. It's just teaching them a system. And then typically, most of our clients, I'd say 80%, they are nonfiction books, they are business books. It's for their business, for their brand, could be a memoir. And then we also do children's books, and we do the occasional fiction book as well. And then on marketing, how that works is we guarantee that our clients, regardless of genre, hit bestseller, which is #1 in at least one category in Amazon. And we have two phases with that. We have a free phase and we have a paid phase with that. But we guarantee that they hit #1. If there's a glitch or an issue, then we just run promos again a few weeks later. But basically, it's what traditional publishing used to do with making sure that you were a bestseller, we do a press release to celebrate it, we give them the bestseller certificate, and then we also help them with podcast outreach as well. Because one of the best ways to promote your book, as you know, Kimberly, is long term is getting on as many podcasts as possible organically. And then if they need help with Amazon ads, we have a couple of companies that we recommend. But really, it's all in one. My team is in house. We've all worked together for many years now. This is actually our 10th year having the opportunity to be able to serve people in this industry. And I feel that my team is the best. I'm a little bit biased that way, but we can guarantee results. And the reason I share that is because on our website, you will see there's over 45 testimonials from clients who we have helped. And we've never pushed those testimonials. We ask if you want to leave one, great. If not, no big deal. But to have over 45 plus testimonials over this time, I think that really shares what we do. And most importantly, the value and the results that we get to our clients. Because at the end of the day, it's about getting results. And that's what we guarantee.
Wonderful. So, what is your website? How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so our website is brodieconsultinggroup.com. I'm assuming we'll have a link right below. You can get a free copy of my book, which is called Get Published. In addition, you can check out a really quick 1-minute explainer video. You can book a call with me on there potentially, but just realize that our services, they are an investment. They're not for everyone. But if you are looking to make that investment and need that additional support, then you're welcome to do that. And just like you have got a podcast, 670 plus episodes, that is also on the website. If you want to know a little bit more about me, then you can actually click on our media page and you'll actually see several interviews that I've done. You can read the Arts Today article that's on there. But yeah, for my hub, BrodieConsultingGroup.com.
All right. Well, thank you. So now I have a personal question. What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
Really being able to get back. When I mentioned to you about different niches that we support, one of my very favorite ones is the Margarita Ball. The Margarita Ball is held every November. It's at Lie by Lowe's. It's quite a little bougie event, but it's cool because, yeah, it's a big party. But to get in, you have to bring a nice toy, something at least $30 to $50 minimum. And I'm a VIP sponsor of this event. I've done it now for the last 3 years. I've already told them I'm going to be doing it forever because I love the event. I have a whole crew that goes with me. We've got our VIP sponsorship. So we get well taken care of, great food. We play blackjack for a couple of hours. But so it's a good time. But what I like most about it is the fact that thousands of kids are going to get gifts for Christmas. That's a big thing with me because I was raised by a single parent. And when I grew up in a very fancy neighborhood in Arlington called Interlochen. Parents got divorced. We went from different home to different home. We moved 5 times in a 2-year period. And there's a couple of times we didn't have Christmas. And when I got to be in this position, have this opportunity, I want to make sure that any kid that I hear of that needs something for Christmas, we're going to take care of because I was that kid growing up. And I don't want anyone to ever go through that. So with that event, I got to go to when they actually presented all the gifts to the kids at a Santa Cops event, which is Arlington Police Foundation, which is another event that we sponsor every year called Back the Blue, ironically also at Lie by Lowe's. But it was cool to be able to go to that and to be able to see all the families being paraded in, all confidential, no social media posts or anything. They were celebrated. They were given meals. They had different amusements for them, but they all were getting those gifts from Margarita Ball. And just seeing those kids' faces light up, their parents' faces light up, to me, that was Christmas. And then an hour later, I met with several members of my Rotary Club just down the road at the Walmart, where we bought 24 bikes for the Bikes Mission Arlington drive. Took those bikes to Mission Arlington, and immediately there were families taking those bikes the minute we brought them in. That to me was Christmas. It really was. I mean, obviously, I had a nice Christmas with the family and everything, but to be able to impact our community like that and to be able to give back, that is to me the most important thing. And that's just really, I could go on all day about it. But to me, that is what really brings me happiness, is seeing other people happy. And I think that's so much more than just getting yourself things. So to me, I always like to refer to myself as a giver, and that's something I really do live.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Thanks for sharing all your wisdom. I have one last question for you.
Sure.
What is your best advice in living an incredible, amazing life?
Be of service, give back, support your community. If you can serve on boards, I highly recommend it. I have the privilege to serve on the Greater Arlington Chamber Board of Directors, the River Legacy Board of Directors, and our Highlands Rotary Board. Just give back to your community, because I can tell you this, when you give back, it comes back in such a beautiful way. And yes, I will freely admit, I have had people reach out to me and become clients because they've got to know more about who we are. They've got to know me as a Rotarian. I've had people say, hey, we're Rotarian too. We want to work with you. We don't do it for that, but that's the side effect. As you mentioned with the awards, with the opportunity, those are the side effects that come into this. And I truly feel that when you put good in the world, it comes back 10 times. It's not for that intention, but that's how it works. But also, if you put bad stuff in the world, same effect. So my advice is put some good out there, support your community, give back, be a service, help others. And yes, that's probably the teacher in me, because once a teacher, always a teacher. But when you can give back to your community, you can be a service to others. That to me is what life is all about. It's not about your accolades. It's not about how many awards you got on your walls. It is about being able to give back, being a good person, and just showing love for your community. I had the question a couple of weeks ago asking, what does Valentine's Day mean to you? And I said, it's the love of family, it's the love of community, it's the love of your city. And, it's just like one of my favorite movies, Love Actually. To say Love Actually is all around, right? I feel it's the same way when you support your community and you're a service to others.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Paul.
It's been a pleasure, Kimberly. Thank you for the opportunity.
We'll talk to you again soon.
All right.